you've selected a model and you've applied it to the problem. You know which one you'd like to use. What does an AI engineer do? Do they hand it off to another team to productionize or what?
That's a great question. And the answer is that it depends. There are different boundaries in different organizations, but it is becoming increasingly common for an AI engineer or the AI engineering team to also be responsible for productionizing their model. And again, there are a number of different ways that that can happen as well. One of the ways that's very popular and that I love is to use a product like modal.com that we use at Nebula. And it's the most fabulous platform. It's called a serverless AI platform. It allows you to deploy your model so that it's running in the cloud. You can call it through an endpoint, but you can also just have Python code. And the Python code, you can run your code and it can either run your model locally or it can call out to the cloud. And the code looks almost identical. So it feels almost as if you're just running something locally. And in fact, it's calling out to the cloud. And the great innovation about Modal is that you only pay for the clock cycles that your model is actually running for. So when you call out to it, it spins up and you start paying. It will then service your request. It stays warm for a couple of minutes in case other requests come in, and then it calmly shuts down, and then you stop paying. And that's, of course, very, very useful in startup land.
We've had Eric Bernhardson, the CEO of Modal, on the show.
Wow.
He sat right where you're sitting.
Goodness.
And we did an episode, it might be 2 years ago now. Again, we'll have that for you in the show notes. Yeah, Eric Bernhardson, brilliant guy. And he recently posted on LinkedIn his GitHub contributions over the last year, that 7x52 matrix that people have on their GitHub profiles. It makes you feel really silly.
Wow.
It's like every day.
He is a over-deliverer. I'm sitting on a hallowed ground. That's amazing. Your Modal is a fabulous product. If anyone hasn't played, you can, because you also get, I think it's $30 of free credit every month. So there's really no excuse if you're out there dabbling with models. It's so easy and it's free to be trying out running a model on a Modal serverless endpoint. He makes it very easy to be deploying models to production. So that's one way to do it, and there are some other similar products, but I don't think others you can pay for in that way. I don't think they have that innovation. But there's Hugging Face endpoints, which are very useful. There's RunPod, it's another good one. And in fact, actually, I think you recently had Luca Antiga on the show from Lightning.ai, and they have Lightning Studios, which allows you to deploy onto their cloud, which is another fabulous platform.
Yeah, Lightning Studios makes it easy to be prototyping in a Jupyter notebook-like setting, kind of like in Colab, where you're very quickly using powerful GPUs in the cloud if you want to be for your task, but then you can seamlessly transition that to a production application. Yeah, they're doing cool work over there. We'll have Luca Antiga's episode in the show notes for you as well, I'm sure.
And then there's a more comprehensive kind of way that AI engineers can be deploying as well. And that is, if you are responsible for building out like a RAG pipeline, like if you've been optimizing at inference time as well as at training time, and so you've built in functionality around that, then that might be something that you're responsible for deploying that entire service. So that could be something that maybe you put into a Docker container, you're deploying Kubernetes on AWS or GCP, and you're responsible for that whole production service. And it might have multiple endpoints that the engineering team is calling into. So that's another model as well. And then to go even further in that direction, if you're working with agents and you've built out an agentic AI platform, you may have an agentic environment where you have multiple agents collaborating, and you would be responsible for deploying all of that potentially. And some of the agent platforms give you a way to sort of deploy it onto their cloud. So LangGraph, for example, has LangGraph platform that lets you deploy your full set of agents onto their cloud. And Crew AI has Crew AI Enterprise, which is another one. So you can use some of these production enterprise agent platforms to be running your agents in production.